On February 18th, 2020, just one phone call, a worried grandfather reports that his little granddaughter has disappeared. But what seemed like a simple report quickly turned into a case that shook an entire state. The man on the phone was Tommy Boswell Sr. from Sullivan County. His voice was tired and filled with worry as he explained the reason for his call. "I'm the one who called Child Services."
Yes, and got this started.
And why did you call DCS?
Because my granddaughter, she never did come back, and I just don't know what happened to her.
Tommy Boswell, a 58-year-old man, hadn't seen his granddaughter Evelyn in months. The last time he saw her was on Thanksgiving, when the family gathered for dinner. After that date, all news of the child stopped. Every time he asked his daughter, Megan Boswell, who was 18 years old, about Evelyn's whereabouts, he felt like he was getting evasive answers. Megan claimed that Evelyn was with her biological father, Ethan Perry, a soldier in the U.S. Army. But Tommy Boswell didn't believe it. In his later testimony before the court, he described how Megan would dodge his questions. She never gave a direct answer about where Evelyn was or who had her. When the investigator asked him, "Did you see Megan after Christmas?" he answered very rarely, and when asked, "Did you see Evelyn?" he replied firmly, "No, the last time I saw her was on Thanksgiving."
After Christmas, did you ever ask her, "Hey"?
Yes, I asked her numerous times.
Okay. And what did she tell you?
She kept coming up different stories and different lies.
Initially, she claimed that Hunter's mother, her boyfriend, was taking care of her, then later alleged that Ethan had taken her. When Megan continued to evade, Tommy Boswell told her he would take action, so she told him that Ethan was refusing to return the child. He replied, "Let's go get a lawyer. He can see his daughter, but he's not taking her." When he confronted her with this idea, she told him, "Give me a day or two and I'll bring her." But this never happened. Tommy Boswell Sr.'s call to Child Services was the spark that unleashed an intensive investigation and a series of tragic events. Tommy Boswell Sr. and Angela Boswell were married for 17 years before separating in 2016. Angela gave birth to their first child when she was 15. 8 years later, their daughter Megan was born. By February 2020, Tommy Boswell Sr. was living on a 10-acre farm in Bluntville, a small rural area. Megan, who was also known as Maggie, lived most of her life with her paternal grandparents because her parents struggled with drug abuse and legal problems. At 17, Megan was placed in foster care. Megan gave birth to her daughter Evelyn in November 2018. After 4 months in custody, Tommy Boswell took Megan and Evelyn to live with him. But tension soon escalated between them, so he set up a mobile home for her at the Lakeshore RV Park. By December 2019, Megan had left the mobile home to move in with her new boyfriend, Hunter Wood. On February 18, 2020, after Tommy Boswell became frustrated with Megan's evasiveness about Evelyn's whereabouts, he called Child Services. He explained that Megan had full custody of the child, but she never reported her disappearance. Despite extensive search efforts and hundreds of reports, no trace of Evelyn was found. Meanwhile, investigators from the county sheriff's office needed answers from Megan. In the interrogation room, Megan sat calmly, and the investigator began questioning her. "You and Evelyn got your own place in October. From October until now, tell me what happened." Megan replied that she went to Texas to see Ethan, the child's father, and spent a few weeks with him. She confirmed that Evelyn was with her, and that it was the first time Ethan had met his daughter because he had no relationship with her before. When the investigator asked if the child had returned with her from Texas, she answered affirmatively. Then the investigator confronted Megan. "After you returned from Texas, what happened from November to December?" She said she kept the child until about mid-December, then moved in with her boyfriend Hunter. She claimed that on Christmas Day, she and Hunter took the child to meet her father Ethan. She alleged that she intended to leave the child with him for only a short time, then bring her back. The investigator pressed Megan, wondering why she left her child with a man who had no role in her life. He asked her why she didn't notify authorities earlier when she couldn't reach Ethan afterward. Megan replied that she tried to give him a chance, but after New Year's, Ethan stopped answering her calls, threatened her, and told her he had taken the child to a friend's house. The investigator warned her that her story was incomplete and urged her to tell the complete truth so they could find the child. But Megan continued to evade. She admitted that she hadn't spoken to Ethan since then, except for one message, and that she broke her phone after an argument with her father. Despite her daughter being missing for weeks, Megan said she was planning to notify authorities tomorrow because Ethan had promised her he would return the child at that time. Her evasive answers and suspicious calm convinced investigators that she was hiding something, but they didn't have enough evidence to hold her, so she was released after questioning. Instead of hiding, Megan appeared on television screens, transforming from an evasive suspect to a mother pleading for her child's return. In a televised interview, she said,
"I love her and I miss her, that I'll be with her as soon as I can get to her any way I can. She's a happy baby. She hardly ever cries."
"I know who took her, but I won't say the name." She admitted that she should have reported her disappearance earlier, but she was afraid the person would run away with her. At the same time, Sheriff Jeff Cassidy held a press conference. He confirmed that investigators had received conflicting reports about when Evelyn was last seen and that Megan's accounts were inaccurate. He announced that the child's father, Ethan Perry, was ruled out of the case because he was in military service in Louisiana at the time of the disappearance. Then investigators issued a BOLO for a silver BMW believed to be connected to the case. On February 21st, the car was found in North Carolina, with Angela Boswell, Megan's mother, and her boyfriend William McLeod inside. Both denied knowing Evelyn's whereabouts, and they were ruled out of the case. A few days later, Megan's story changed again. In another television interview, she claimed that her mother, Angela, had taken Evelyn to a camp in Mendota and left her in a silver mobile home. Megan insisted that she had warned investigators, but they didn't take her seriously. Based on this new evidence, authorities prepared to search the camps, but the search yielded nothing. Megan's credibility was further shaken when she refused to take a polygraph test, falsely claiming she was pregnant. Meanwhile, her ex-boyfriend, Hunter Wood, told the media that he barely knew Megan and had never seen Evelyn. After being falsely accused online, he suffered a nervous breakdown and was hospitalized, but investigators confirmed he had no connection to the child's disappearance. In court, Ethan Perry described a completely different story. He confirmed that he had only met Evelyn once when Megan visited him in Texas, and that the child was never with him at his military base. Later, a paternity test confirmed what Ethan had suspected. He was not Evelyn's biological father. Megan's lies wasted precious time directing investigators toward false evidence instead of finding Evelyn. On February 25th, Megan was arrested on charges of filing false reports. Then the search was intensified in the area where Megan had previously lived. On March 6th, there was the horrific discovery on Tommy Boswell Sr.'s property. Evelyn's remains were found hidden inside a children's playhouse, wrapped in a blanket, aluminum foil, and in a garbage bag. The coroner ruled her death as intentional. The search for a missing child turned into a murder case. Megan Boswell was charged with first-degree murder, but she pleaded not guilty. During the trial, more than 30 witnesses testified, from investigators and forensic experts to people who knew Megan. One witness confirmed that Megan didn't pay any rent or bills when she was living in the mobile home provided by her family. Her relatives confirmed that she stayed there with Evelyn, although they rarely visited her inside. Text messages from December 23rd showed that Megan was claiming she was at Ethan's grandparents' house with Evelyn. When photos of the child were requested from her, she promised to send them but never did. Another witness, named Caitlin Carter, a former friend, testified. She said she went with Megan and Evelyn to a restaurant in early December and that the child appeared unusually dirty, her clothes were filthy, and she had a bad smell. After Megan started dating Hunter, Caitlin noticed that she no longer saw Evelyn with her, which raised her concern. During the trial, prosecutors strongly argued that Megan's lies and changing stories, and the forensic evidence, left no doubt about her guilt. They confirmed that Evelyn's body was deliberately hidden with a blanket, aluminum foil, and a garbage bag, all bearing Megan's fingerprints. The state told the jury that the defense's attempt to implicate Hunter Wood had no basis, as all evidence pointed to Megan only. The prosecutors made clear to the jury that Megan's lies, her failure to report Evelyn's disappearance, and her sudden behavioral change all proved that she deliberately killed her daughter. They urged the jury to convict her on all charges. In contrast, the defense argued that Megan's actions were deceptive, but they didn't prove murder. They suggested that Evelyn's death might have been accidental and that Megan panicked instead of intentionally harming her child. They insisted that the state hadn't provided sufficient evidence to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. After 4.5 hours of deliberation over 2 days, the jury found Evelyn Boswell guilty on all charges. With the verdict issued, the case entered the sentencing phase. Megan's mother, Angela Boswell, testified in a final plea for leniency, recounting her troubled past, admitting that Megan grew up in a home filled with drug abuse problems, violence, and instability. On the stand, Angela Boswell admitted that she failed as a role model and asked the jury to spare her daughter from the maximum penalty. She described Megan as a person with potential who tried not to repeat her parents' mistakes, but the jury was unmoved. They recommended a sentence of life in prison with the possibility of parole after 51 years. The formal sentencing hearing was scheduled for May 22, 2025, to address the remaining charges. For Evelyn's family and the community, the verdict brought long-awaited justice. The case was painful, but in the end, Evelyn Boswell was held accountable for Evelyn's tragic death. Her lies left deep scars on family, friends, and community, wounds that may never heal. This was the story of Evelyn Boswell. Every life carries a story. Some end in pain, some in silence. This was one of them, but many more remain. Stay with us until the next story.